G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. This won't be my Knackers Yard, this will be a commute, work trip. You join me after a bit of a splash and dash as I throw some fuel into Ivan, the ER6N, which is my favouriteest commute bike so far. It's brilliant. I thought today, while I travel into work, we'd have a bit of a chat, and there's the concern that I'm going to come across a little bit conspiratorial, and I apologise. But what I want to talk about, and there's a few reasons why it might come up as conspiratorial, bits that I want to chat about, mostly paper mile vehicle tax, or vehicle excise duty, using its correct title. Buy crappy cameras anymore, they're all pretty capable because technology's moved on, but anyway, they're fucking everywhere, and even outside of London you'll see them outside all your supermarkets. It's the same cameras. If you want more on that and a more conspiracy angle, go see Jeff Buys Cars channel, and if I remember I'll stick a link at the bottom. But straight onto the paper mile palaver. There are two big issues I have with paper mile. One is that it is rubbish, and two is how do you police it. So there are lots of people saying, yeah, but if you do paper mile, it'll be good for those that don't drive very far. Well, yeah, that's how paper mile works, but my point and my argument is still indicating you dickhead. We already have paper mile. Yes, you have a standard flat vehicle excise duty rate of whatever a year, depending on the size, etc. of your vehicle. I've not come this route for a little while, but I've got to do it. Yeah, so you used to have so you got your flat rate, but you already pay paper mile. It's called fuel tax. It's called fuel duty. So out of the 160-ish, something like that, for a litre of fuel, of petrol. I think I did check yesterday, it's something like 55p of that is fuel duty. So a third of your fuel costs is already going towards how many miles you drive. So, and plus on top of that there's 20% VAT as well, but I think that's on the base cost, i.e. the pre-vehicle excise duty costs as well. So, it's a double tax on fuel. That does sound conspiratorial now, doesn't it? So what? We're already paying paper mile. We pay it at the pump if you're a petrol driver. Now the problem you've got is if you're an EV driver, there is no way of levying a paper mile charge on your fuel. Like us poor dinosaurs on dinosaur juice. There's no way of doing that. So what do? Well, they produce a paper mile system. Okay. Well, just on EVs? No, on petrols too. Right, so question number one, if you're going to put a paper mile charge on petrol vehicles as well, scrap fuel duty, because that is already a paper mile charge. So if you drive a internal combustion engine, that then gives you 4 taxes actually, for you to drive a vehicle. Your annual vehicle excise duty, your fuel and fuel tax, your VAT on your fuel, and now a paper mile charge. Potentially the paper mile charge taking over the vehicle excise duty one, but we shall see. It leads me to my second point, and I will do that. I'm still bloody indicating, I'm too into this. I will do that on my journey back, because I'm nearly there and it's only a quick trip. Okay, so continued, part 2 for me, directly for you. It's the second part of my issues with paper mile is how do you police it?
not necessarily enforce it, how do you police it? And I'm aware that there are a couple of countries that do something like this already, and the answer is either sort of through an app or through, you know, self-declaration on an annual check, i.e. your MOT, if you're in the UK, would check your mileage and raise your road user tax on it. That could be a nasty shock for people, couldn't it? Forgotten about those couple of trips you took from London to the Outer Hebrides, so that's far from ideal. The other one is through an app. Now that's a really easy throwaway statement, through an app. Essentially that's through a tracking app. Now I don't go anywhere dodgy on my bikes or in my cars, but I also don't want people knowing where I've been or where I am. That sort of data is valuable, not for me, but aggregate, that's really valuable. Does that mean it will be sold on? Because, and again, I'm pretty sure it would, because that is very valuable data over where people move. Do I have any rights to that data? Do I have any GPDR rights to see what they've got for me? How are they going to track me? Track me through my phone? I realise that you can do that anyway, but that's one would hope, a hell of a lot of process for a government to track a individual, because they'd have to have viable reason for do so, and you're doing it by choice. Ooh, pink car, I don't see that often. Yeah, so I'm really dubious about how they would get the data. Now I realise for most EVs, you know, they're pretty much online anyway. I'm not an expert on EVs. I've driven one once and it was great. Didn't want to own one again, as just a hire car. So most EVs presumably have this facility already. I can't imagine they publish the fact that they track where all their owners and users go constantly, but I'm pretty fucking sure, for one, it's technically possible, and for two, they probably do. So yeah, that leaves me in all sorts of a world of pain. Okay, so I've done some self-editing here, which is unusual for me. Rather than disappearing on a rant as I did, I've decided to re-record the audio actually later that day while I was walking the dog. Why? Because I don't really want to turn this into a rant. Paper mile is probably coming. There is a massive gulf in the British economy caused by removing the vehicle excise duty on electric vehicles. That was done in good faith to get people away from internal combustion engines onto electric vehicles, but it's left a gulf that needs to be covered. Now that's not my concern. My concern is how it's being sold and how it's likely to be sold. At the moment it's being sold politically. It's been sold as Labour's plans to ... They just happen to be the people in charge. The conditions of this were set long before. This is a societal issue, not a political one. My concern is that it's being sold as new. It's not. We already have a paper mile system. It's called the fuel levy tax, and a third of your fuel costs being taxed already. The problem they have is there's no way of levying that against an EV, so there's going to have to be something. So what? Don't know. My solution would be just to charge EVs per mile, leave petrol and diesel as it is. There is a chance, of course, that if we go to a completely paper mile system, I may well actually be better off. By owning more than one vehicle, I would only be paying to tax the one that I was driving at the time. So we will have to see. That'll do me for now. Ta-da.